All right, it was nearly a year ago after the inauguration of Joe Biden as the 46th president of the United States. The headlines from the legacy media read, Biden, unity is the path. Biden vows to mend nation. Unity, not division. And end this uncivil war. But it's clear after 1 year in office that President Biden has done more to really hurt this country than help it. And it's more than just the big news-grabbing items like immigration, where 2 million people have been detained. That doesn't count the ones who came across. Afghanistan, jab or job mandates, and massive spending with record-setting inflation. There are other issues that are quietly being done to undo many of the pro-life, pro-family gains made during the Trump years. Joining me now to go through some of those actions this president and his administration have taken on family issues, religious liberty issues, and life issues is Travis Weber, Vice President for Policy and Government Affairs here at the Family Research Council. Travis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Now, before we get started, I just want everybody to know you can actually find a copy of this document so you can see it for yourself. It's all dated. It has the information. It's documented. You can go to tonyperkins.com and follow the links over. So, we were just talking about earlier in the program, the president claiming a lot of success. Hasn't had very little success on the big ticket items that he's been pushing, that the press has been covering. But his administration has been successful in pushing some of their leftist agenda items that the far left cares about.
They have, unfortunately, Tony, but that's why we have to track it and make sure people are aware of these. And he doesn't get to escape unscathed from the tension that he should be getting on these issues. It's interesting thinking about the unity focus. There was a quote from about a year ago where he proclaimed to be a unifier. He's trying to hit that theme. When you look at what he's doing on life, family, religious freedom, the social issues, the issues that Americans care about, he's promoting radical policies. These are not unifying positions he's taking. His administration has been more radical, more money to abortion, for instance, than any previous administration.
More than Barack Obama?
More than Barack Obama. In the 400 millions, when you look at the unrestricted funds and the COVID relief packages, he's taken that position that we're going to let this money go to
Now,
abortion.
was that accidental or intentional?
It's intentional because he knows he's trying to appease the radicals. And frankly, he himself, he believes some of what he's putting out, but he's also representing a position politically that you have radical policies driving it.
Now, one of the things that does pop in the media occasionally, like we saw just last week, where they're going after a Christian college over transgender policies. We've seen this, I would have to say, abnormal fixation on advancing transgenderism in our schools, in the military. Is that borne out in the facts that you've put together here?
It is. I think that's one of the things you observe when looking at the pattern of what he's done. It's bizarre. It's not in proportion to reality and what most people are concerned about. I mean, look, in a year, we documented 93 actions that he's taken to roll back protection for life, family, and religious freedom. And these are major policies or pronouncements, not every little thing. So there's a lot more that is under that umbrella. 93. But we have 56 of those on the family, religious liberty, including the sexuality issues. And there are a ton of steps he's taken to push that. I mean, the major ones early in his administration, rolling back restrictions in the military that promoted common sense, relying on a DOD study that said do not allow transgender military service members to enter and serve openly without restrictions or examination of their status, rolling that back.
Which cost millions of dollars that is diverted from military readiness.
Right. I mean, you're spending a ton, and aside from the money, the focus on that, the attention, people spending time training in these areas, we've talked about. So it's sad. There's just such an abnormal fixation on these things because it diverts resources from real problems that Americans are facing.
This is kind of that administrative state that many people don't see, that the press doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to, that's done through executive order and policy through the executive branch.
That's very true. And if I'm looking through in this document, the first action we have listed for on the family side, January 20th of last year, issue an executive order to prohibit discrimination on the basis of gender identity and sexual orientation based on the Bostock Supreme Court ruling. Day one, That order gets issued, but then it spreads throughout all federal agencies. It works its way down, whether explicitly or implicitly applied. It kind of works into the seams.
And unfortunately, historically, what happens when you have a Republican administration that would come in after a Democratic administration like this, they sometimes will push pause on the implementation of these rules, but very rarely do we see an administration like we saw in the Trump administration that actually reverses and removes these types of executive orders.
That's true. If you look at kind of the where the goalposts are, when a Republican comes in, they're often not able to move them totally back to where they should be. And a number of factors here, personnel, but the administrative state's interest.
I would say most of it's political will.
Will, and having the right people in place, which relates to will, because you need backbone to put the right people in place.
And that's where I have to give it to President Trump. He's the only Republican I've seen in my adult life that's been willing to undo the aggressive agenda of the left. And I think that's why he was so hated.
He was, and a lot of what we tracked, what Biden did, it rolled back President Trump's good work in these areas. He rolled back the he failed to hold a religious freedom ministerial. Trump two of those.
And the whole executive order on religious freedom within the federal government.
Yep.
I hear music.
Okay.
That means we're about out of time.
All right.
We're going to spend more time talking about this. In fact, on Friday, we're going to take a look at the life issues in particular. But this speaks to commitments we need from candidates in the future to address not just the big ticket items that everybody sees, but these things. Don't go away, folks. We're coming back with more after this. I want to, again, encourage you to take a look at this document yourself that tracks the Biden administration on life, family, and religious freedom, the issues that we focus on at the Family Research Council. And they're all documented. So this is not, it's not spin, it's not, hearsay. It's date and time of the actions they took to advance a leftist agenda undermining the sanctity of human life, the sacredness of religious freedom, and the family. And so and human sexuality is rolled into that. So I encourage you to take a look at this and see how out of it's disproportionate in the push for the radical LGBT transgender agenda that this administration is pushing, even more so than the Barack Obama administration. So you can find this at frc.org or go to tonyperkins.com and you can download it.